Thank you, Mr. President. Over the last couple of months, there have been significant developments around the world in the nuclear space as countries recommit and recognise that the most sensible way to power a strong, diversified, heavily decarbonised economy is by including nuclear generation in the energy mix. In August, the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe published a note that said, and I quote, "Nuclear power can be seen as part of a broader portfolio alongside deploying other sustainable, low or zero carbon technologies to decarbonise the global energy system and energy-intensive industries to deliver on the Paris Agreement and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development." Mr. President, it notes that in Europe, nuclear power currently provides 20% of electricity generated and 43% of low-carbon generation. Further, nuclear power as a low-carbon energy source that has avoided about 74 billion tonnes of carbon dioxide emissions over the past 50 years, which is nearly 2 years' worth of total global energy-related emissions. Only hydropower has played a greater role in avoiding emissions over this period, ironically also opposed by the so-called Greens. In the United States, the Biden administration's Secretary for Energy, Jennifer Granholm, recommitted America to nuclear innovation and said that, and I quote, "The continued deployment of nuclear energy is essential to confronting climate change," end quote. To back up this commitment of the Biden administration, the Senate in August passed the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act with bipartisan support. It provides, amongst many things, funding for 2 commercial-scale demonstration projects of advanced reactors under a program launched by the US Department of Energy. One of these projects, by TerraPower in Wyoming, will build a next-generation nuclear reactor at the site of a former coal-fired power plant to showcase how nuclear power can be added to the grid at a competitive price and on a reasonable timeline. Just last week, the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, presented France 2030 as his near-term response to the great challenges of our time, in his words. The first objective of the plan is reinventing nuclear power with €1 billion to demonstrate small-scale nuclear technology. This will be followed by a decision in the coming weeks regarding the construction of 6 new large reactors. Importantly, the President said his plan will enable France to re-industrialise itself. In particular, France is looking to be a leader in hydrogen technology, using clean electricity from its fleet of 56 nuclear reactors. I've spoken in this chamber before, Mr. President, about the Boris Johnson government in the United Kingdom and their 10-point plan for green energy as part of the Prime Minister's Green Industrial Revolution. One of those points outlined the importance of movement in the small modular reactor space. A consortium led by Rolls-Royce has already secured £210 million in investments from private investors for its plan to build 16 reactors across the UK. It is expected this month that the Business Secretary, Kwasi Kwarteng, will match that investment, assisting the UK to achieve its goal of net zero emissions by 2050. In addition, the UK government released its hydrogen strategy in August that seeks to develop an annual low-carbon hydrogen production capacity of 5 gigawatts by 2030. It specifically notes that nuclear power will play a significant role in developing a thriving low-carbon hydrogen sector to meet its emissions ambitions. The release of our own hydrogen strategy here in New South Wales is great news for regional areas such as the Hunter and Illawarra, seeking to diversify and grow their industrial base. When I was chair of the State Development Committee last year, we established an inquiry into the potential for a New South Wales hydrogen industry. The release of a statewide strategy was one of the many outcomes that I was hoping for and pleased to see. The strategy provides up to $3 billion of incentives to commercialise hydrogen supply chains, reduce the cost of green hydrogen, lift production to 100,000 tonnes per annum and create 10,000 jobs by 2030. Our hydrogen ambitions are large, but in New South Wales we do face the reality that nuclear power is banned at both the state and Commonwealth level. Nuclear power from small modular reactors would enable us to exceed our ambitions for a hydrogen industry and supercharge other industries, including agriculture through desalinated water and manufacturing. And Mr. President, I saw an exchange recently on social media that said if nuclear power was discovered today, it would be heralded as the miracle solution to solving climate change. I encourage all those historically opposed to nuclear power to consider the significant technological advancements, particularly regarding safety, the environmental impact and waste containment, and the cost that are coming to fruition and perhaps it may be time for people to reconsider their views.
The Honourable Anthony D'Adam.